Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, morning. Hey, Maureen. Hey, Kia. Hey, Linda. 24 hours without Wi-Fi. Oof. That sucks. that just sucks. I forgot to change everything. God. It is so hard to get going in the morning for the last couple days. Give me 1 second. It is hilarious watching people try and justify the obvious bad that all of this is. Anyways. Hello. Hi. My day started a bit after 5. There's so many hungry, demanding mouths to feed. Yeah, I bet. That I'm sure there are days where it is fun, but it also feels exhausting. Sounds exhausting. $19 mouths total twice a day. Yeah, that's crazy. That's true. Hopefully you started with no no yucky animal secretions. Mm-hmm. So I realized where I found out where this whole new thing of people saying that they're trying to, the reason they're gerrymandering is to get a 2/3 majority to change the Constitution. I finally saw the video where I think it started from. And I posted a video about it on TikTok. There's this young woman who just said that, basically made a video about it and was like, you know why they're doing it? They're not doing it like, why would they need only 1 seat? They're doing it because they want a 2/3 majority. And you know why they want a 2/3 majority? So they can change the Constitution. And again, I understand the fear. It's just not real. So I mean, I made a video about it on TikTok this morning. Just to remind people that that's not how you change the Constitution. It It's not just a 2/3 majority to change the Constitution. It's more. But no, they need 3/4 of the states to ratify it. They need 2/3 of the House, 2/3 of the Senate, and 3/4 of the state. We have one of the hardest constitutional amendment systems in existence. You need 2/3 of the state if you want to have a constitutional convention again. Like if you want the states to have a constitutional convention, you need 2/3 to start that. But ratification still requires 3/4, no matter what. Oh yeah, it's good and bad. Absolutely. There are definitely positives to it when you're dealing with, the way the GOP are right now. I think it's a positive, but also when you know there are issues that you need to change, it's a negative. Oh, I'm not against changing the Constitution. That's not the problem. And hi, Aaron. People just need to stop worrying about that part. Like that's just fear mongering. That is fear mongering. Now maybe they're doing it on purpose. Maybe they're doing it on purpose to try and fear people into getting out and vote. I don't know, but which, knowing people nowadays, might be true. Still not a fan of it. And hi, Claire. Excuse me. And that's the thing. I understand why people don't know all of this stuff. I'm friggin' living it, and sometimes I forget. My problem is when you make a video that's so confident, not only is so confidently wrong, but you know that its response is going to be more fear. Make sure you understand it all. Like, make people fear. There's plenty of stuff to be afraid of that's going on. We don't need to make shit up. You know? Like, there is plenty of stuff to be afraid of that does not require us to make stuff up. Hey, we are Americans. We love to be confidently wrong. It's our thing. That's true. The GOP trying to lose seats. Why else would they be withholding Medicare money from California? I know, right? I mean, that you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Morning, Laura. Again, the people they care about aren't on Medicare. They don't care about the people that are on Medicare. They care about the people that were on Air Force One going to China with them. That's the only people they care about. It's sad, but it's true. Doesn't what garner votes elsewhere like Florida and Texas? The head of border control resigned. Shocker. Shocker. I'm so shocked. Look at this is my shocked face. Patel is on the bingo card. I mean, that wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me at all. I hope Patel goes the way of the dodo. I hope they all do, though. So, is he in the center box? He's the easy X. You know, you get one free X in the center. Let's just put Patel in there. Did you see what happened in his in his Senate committee hearing? Did you see how one of the senators owned him? Oh man, it was gorgeous. It was gorgeous. I think it was in the Senate. He and the Trump administration got owned by one of those senators. Oh, it was so good. Being like, I want to thank the hardworking people of the FBI for finding $200 million worth of fraud in I think it was in our Medicare system, and you know that we need more work like that. And Patel goes, you know, thank you for that. We don't get a lot of recognition for the hard work that we use. And then she goes, now I do want to, I forget what she said to lead into it, but basically she was like, yeah, I do want to let you know though, that the person who was found responsible for that was pardoned by the Trump administration before they could pay off what they stole from people. Yeah, I saw that too, Aaron. Morning, Jeremiah. Yeah, Aaron. I also saw that the Pentagon was like surprised, like no one knew this was coming. It just decided out of the blue. Like, do these people think that if we pull ourselves from the rest of the world, that we're still going to be as powerful as we are? Like, do they understand that? I mean, I know they don't, but that was a hilarious interaction. That was hilarious. He got owned. Shocker. Wasting money. Hey, yo. Hey, Wendy. How you doing? How you doing? Sorry. Sorry. By the minute. Forget the hour. It is Friday. Happy Friday. I wish that meant my weekend was going to be restful and relaxing. It's not. My nephew is one of the troops who is supposed to go over. They have no idea what this means for them. It sounds like nobody, not even Keg's Breath, knows what this means. None of them do. I saw a clip. You want to know how ridiculous this administration is and our president, how dumb he is? I saw a clip of him talking, and he was talking about, I forget exactly what he was talking about, but he was talking about either people or products coming by sea. And he felt the need at that moment to clarify that sea meant ocean or water, because some people hear that and they think see as in with your eyes. He said that in a press conference or whatever he was doing at that moment. Hey, meme. And you knew when you were listening to it that he didn't know that, and he had to be told, so he thought other people may not have known it either. Good morning, DGS. How are you doing? Oh, I need to put that up. Swear. So I've got a show today and a show tomorrow, and then things calm down a bit, and that's when we're gonna start. That's when you're gonna start seeing the goals and stuff. The worst part isn't that he's completely stupid, it's that he thinks he's a genius. No, both are equally bad. Both are equally bad, Silver. So he is completely stupid, which is really bad because he is trying to run our country. You hear from TikTok? I followed you from there? Heck yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate you being here. The whole administration is unserious? Yeah. 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 Happy Friday. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to a place where you can actually speak and not get filtered. Morning, Prairie. We're cooler over here. You guys are pretty cool, I will admit. Your Wi-Fi is back? Hell yeah. So you guys know how I interviewed that governor, guy who's running for governor in Alaska? Like, I think like end goal would be like I think one of the coolest goals would be to be able to raise enough money to go interview him live. Because I've never been to Alaska, and I think it would be really cool. Or to have this whole thing grow enough that I don't need to raise money. I can just actually afford to do these things. That's the ultimate goal. I don't want to have to raise money with anything in order to be able to do these trips. We're slowly. Alaska's on your bucket list. That would be really cool. Am I ever going to run for office? My goal is to travel the entire country, visit each state at least once. That would be pretty cool. Am I ever going to run for office? I don't have any plans to. But to guarantee never would mean that I would know the future. Alaska and Hawaii are the only two states I haven't been to, but I will. Heck yeah. I've been to Hawaii, not Alaska. Your dad was stationed in Juneau during the Korean conflict. I'd be incredible. I mean, I appreciate that. I'm not sure I'd be incredible, but I appreciate you guys thinking I would be. I know you would. I know you guys would all be super supportive. What's this Truth Social ranting about for Obama's arrest? Dude, Trump is obsessed with Obama right now on Truth Social. Holy shit. The amount of Truth Social posts that man is putting up about Obama is wild. Like wild, I'm even sure can describe how off the rockers he is obsessed about Obama on Truth Social right now. Your brother-in-law is helping a friend build a hunting house in Alaska. His pictures are incredible. Yeah, I mean, Alaska is amazing. It's brutal. It's brutal in the wintertime. Man, oh man. He sees how much respect people have of Obama, even that don't like him to an extent, and it pisses him off. He sees how much respect not only people in this country but the world give him, and it pisses him off that he doesn't get it as well. I don't have Truth Social either, Kia. I have seen other people talk about it. Obama's pinky toenail has more respect than he can have on even his best day. Truth. Yeah, serious man crush on Obama. Serious man crush on Obama. No, I mean, the fact is the insecurity is strong. Seriously. You can actually look up Truth Social without having an account. Like, it's got a web version kind of a thing. I do that every once in a while. Very rarely, but I do it every once in a while. Sent pictures of the water, which was so orange, full of salmon. Like I said, when he felt he needed to explain the difference between sea as in the ocean and sea as in using your eyes in a conversation talking about stuff coming from the sea, I knew it before, but like that was I used to have Twitter back in the day before they changed it to X. Will never go back. Yeah. Yep. Same. I know a lot of political content creators keep it because you do get some information from it. I don't care. Again, I'm at this point now where if I have to grow slower because I won't do what everyone else, what's considered the norm, I'm okay with that. I'm done following the norms. I'm just going to keep doing my thing and grow as fast as I'm able to. Yep. Sure is. I think I tweeted twice in my life. When I was a karaoke streamer, full-time karaoke streamer, I used to tweet a lot more. But that was when, you know, I didn't even think about politics, unfortunately. Fortunately or unfortunately. Hey, Lori. When I was a young warthog. Thank you. On the other side now. It's so weird the things this app is telling me now. I don't want to know some of these things. Like it's trying to encourage me to do stuff and I don't want to do it. Following politics for decades, he calls it doom and gloom. Yeah, except for the fact that the reason it's doom and gloom is because people don't follow it. It would be so much less doom and gloom if people actually paid attention. Do I find myself singing the songs from the plays? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. All the time. This is a non-issue. Right. Stuff costing prices going up 6% and oil going over $104 a barrel futures. That's not even the cost that they're paying. That's not the physical cost. Going over $104 a barrel is a non-issue. Uh-huh. Okay. Yeah. Let me guess. Once the war ends, prices are just going to plummet, right? Now we are not even close to replacement, smart guy. Oh, I know you requested. I don't care. Hey, Patty. Happy Friday. Wants to make money. Oh, yeah. 100%. What's funny is they're talking, I'm assuming they're talking about replacement in the sense of people having kids. They don't seem to get that people aren't having kids because of how expensive it is. I mean, there's other reasons, but a lot of people aren't even considering having kids because of how expensive things are. Like they can literally barely afford to survive at this point. So why would they add an expense? I know quite a few people that are like I know you never feel ready, but hey, Leah, but this is above and beyond that problem. Musicals aren't really my thing, man. I could watch musicals all day long. My adult kids are not interested in marriage and having kids. Yeah. Having kids in this economy is just selfish to me. Why would I want to raise a family when I'm struggling just myself to even live? Yeah. Exactly. So I'm assuming you've never watched like Greatest Showman or something like that? Missing out. Well, the world controls oil prices. It's a global market. The president, by its very nature, cannot control oil prices. That does not mean that something a president does cannot cause it. Starting a war with someone who controls a strait where 20% of the oil goes through does cause it. That's not true. The zero control. In this case, the president did cause it. He started a war with someone who controls the Strait of Hormuz, where 20% of the world's oil travels through. The president did it. Hey, Carla. Yeah. Greatest Showman is amazing. But yes, a president can't sit there and go, we're going to raise prices or we're going to lower prices. It's a global market. You're correct. That being said, starting a war with someone who controls the access to 20% of the world's market what do you mean the same 6%? It's a 6% rise. It's inflation. So it's a 6% rise comparatively. Doesn't control gas price, but most certainly can cause a reaction that affects gas price. Correct. The president will? I agree. The president is that. Absolutely. We eat lots of cabbage casserole. Yeah. Yeah. Again, look, there's a lot of stuff that we need to worry about. And honestly, I'm seeing it from a lot of content creators. I saw a content creator who makes tons of videos normally. And he was like, and she was like, you may have noticed that I haven't made a lot of content, and it's because I feel overwhelmed with the amount of stuff there is to talk about. And I feel that there's so many things. I could make videos all day, every day about different things that are going on. But there's not enough. there's multiple things. You know, I don't make a living off of the content I create. So making more isn't going to help. It's just going to waste a lot of time. But also, I don't want you guys to get bored of me. And I know some of you be like, I'll never get bored. Well, the algorithm might get bored of me. Chaos is overwhelming and feels unsafe. Yep. Truth. Hey, Minnesota mom. They've caused a global crisis with this war of choice. Yep. Morning, Carla. Hey, April. thought I had to get married at 21, have kids. That's what I thought I was supposed to do. I married for the dream of a perfect little family. Of course, it didn't last because, yeah, yeah. I mean, this is the problem that we're seeing in a lot of situations, right? When it comes to this idea that we're seeing from people of what it means to be like when you that is the issue that we have with a lot of people that have podcasts. Honestly, they're using it as a way to push these these black and white generalities about society that aren't true. And in the end, they're continuing the problems that we're seeing. Like I was watching a clip of one, I think it was yesterday, where they were talking about how men specifically, think a certain way or what they need. And I'm just like, I don't think that way and I don't need it. And I know a lot of men that don't think that way or need it. Why are you teaching men and women that this is what men think and need? Hey, Paige. 50s lupus and can't afford health insurance. My college degree is useless. Yeah. Yeah. And especially with no jobs out there, it's even worse. Hey guys, if you're over here on TikTok, please tap that nose and share the live with people, especially people that may not have been here already. Our numbers are pretty small today. I know it's Friday, but we need to get those numbers up. Y'all, hey Orange. Hey Pinky. We need a drastic change. We do, but the only way drastic change is going to happen is if enough, we have to hit a tilting point of people in society that agree with that statement. So while I agree we need a drastic change, it's not going to happen until enough people are convinced of that. That's just an unfortunate reality. I think there are people that would be okay with it that just aren't convinced of it. And that won't happen? That's not true. You're assuming that we haven't had drastic change throughout the history of this country, which we have. So saying that won't happen is not true. It's already starting to happen. Is it enough yet? No. But it's starting to happen. And especially as it gets worse, it is more likely to happen. I had a training at work yesterday about all the new requirements for Medicaid work. Yeah. They're blocking anything on here with the name of sure they are. Some states won't have work requirements. South Carolina being one of them that won't as of yet anyways. Interesting. Gas is over $5 around your neck of the woods. Yeah. And Boston baked beans and coffee for breakfast. There you go. They have a new production of Rocky Horror Show at Studio 54 in New York going. Hell yeah. I said shenanigans on TikTok and got filtered, you know? SCOTUS ruled that brokers can be sued for a driver's actions. My industry just got a lot more interesting. Interesting. Yeah, gas is going to get more and more expensive. Just going to keep going up. Just going to keep going up. It will until the conflict ends. It'll go down, but it will not go down to what it was before the conflict started. You are I'm sorry, Mission. Nonprofit company you work for just closed down, no notice. Oh, fun. I know. How dare you? How dare you do a Wayne's World GIF, Mission? How dare you? 120 to fill your Durango. Yeah, that's wild. I'm not looking forward to all that. Hey, if you don't like being filtered on everything, you should go hang over on the tube. There's only there's 19 people over there. Would love to make it like 50. Is it really a conflict? I think it's really a conflict. Is it a necessary conflict? No. But it's really a conflict. I think he went into Iran thinking that they would do what Venezuela did, not realizing that there's a difference between Iran and Venezuela. That is based on a lot of people I have interacted with and talked to. Pretty sure he thought they would just roll over and capitulate. Yep. Yeah, and I don't know why. I don't know who told him that they would do that. GG, but no. Missed $2.85 gas. Yeah, you won't see sub $3 gas for a long time. No, I think his administration that doesn't have the ability, that only tells him what he wants to hear, told him so. I mean, have you watched any of his cabinet meetings? If that's how they interact with him everywhere, I guarantee they're like, yes, Mr. President. They will completely turn. I mean, we found out that 54% of Republican men don't think they could take the president in a fight. Do I agree with anything this administration is doing at this moment? No. No, I don't. Nope. Oh, it's completely possible that lies are being told to him to control him. Sure. Other than reclassifying devil's lettuce. Yeah, I guess it'd be I didn't think about that one. Thank you, Kia. Yeah, I'm okay with that one. My 18-year-old daughter is like, I could take him. What's up, Mission? Lurking here as well now. Appreciate you, buddy. Thank you, Lisa. I'm 64. I too could take him down. What was funny about that poll was I think it was 72% of Democratic women said they could take the president. Yeah, when I played the video that talked about the poll to my daughter, she was like, I could take him. Like, all you have to do is give him a good push and he'd fall over. I'm like, yep, pretty much. Yeah, gust of wind. Gust of wind. Yeah. Yeah. I'm old, disabled, but I work out every day. I could take him. I took private Krav Maga courses. There you go. My tiny Shih Tzu could take him. Yeah, can you? That would be hilarious, actually. Hey, Di. How are you, my friend? Welcome to the side where you can actually say things. Hey, Dynasty. Oh my gosh. Oh man, I'm gonna get too much caffeine. You guys can't see it. It probably looks weird for the people on the tube. Hey, OC. You're excited for the possibilities of today? Heck yeah. Thank you, Miriam. Yeah, I only picked it because I hadn't seen it yet either. Walking in a straight line is a battle for him. Truth. Truth. Cheeseburger on a fishing pole. I'm leaving for Vegas tomorrow to visit my sister with cancer. So excited. Heck yeah. Kia's here. Scott's probably working. He's been having to work more. How you doing, Dynasty? Morning, Jose. Look at 26 people over on the tube. I love it. I love it. Hello, friends. Talking in a straight line is hard for him. Also true. Also true. It still is wild to me that the amount of work people are doing in order to justify stuff going on. Hey, Cat. Like I said, I've said it before. I know some of you have heard this already, but he felt the need to remind people the difference between the ocean sea and the ability to see. Like, he felt the need in a talk to because he was worried people wouldn't know the difference. He was worried. That's the world we live in. Like, what the heck? Literally said, things coming from the sea. And then he goes, I mean, sea, like ocean sea or water sea. You have to explain that sometimes because some people think you're talking about like the seeing with your eyes. And I was just like, what? Hey, Ziggy. I can see how that would confuse his followers. That's true. Yeah, just he gets confused, Pinky. And you know that's why he did it, right? You know someone was talking to him and he goes, wait, which sea are we talking about? Are we talking about the eyes or are we talking about the water? Like, you know, he was the reason that he said it. Every time he feels the need to clarify something that is blatantly obvious because context, like people know how to interact with context. You know the reason that he did it is because he did it. He couldn't tell the difference. Of course we're in a reality show. That man never stopped being in a reality show, Die. I'm waiting for the stairs. Yeah. Hold the line. Always. Always got to hold the line. C is for cookie. S. C is for eyes. C is for ships. True. That's true. I'd be so ashamed if I was someone who believed he was smart. Right? Right? Trying to think if any other news that people saw today that is worth talking about. Always lost. Hopefully history repeats itself. Yup. Okay. It will be soon. I was so proud of those women at the shadow hearing. What women at the shadow hearing? Read Art of War? There you go. I don't know who you are, Splinter. I don't bring up people I don't know. Sorry. He's been playing in the stock trades at inappropriate times, so there's that. Oh, yeah. I'd rather be in Fear Factor than this reality show. Oh. The JE survivors. Gotcha. Virginia and Tennessee. They did a shadow hearing with them. GOP. No GOP showed. Cuba has ran out of oil and diesel because of the blockade. Yeah. 1.7 billion for government weaponization. Yeah, I saw that. I saw that. Fear factor, having to eat weird stuff. I mean, having to eat weird stuff, having to see weird people. Those kind of fall in the same line, right? Die. Very soon, grocery stores will close. You'll probably see some, yeah, for sure. We're in trauma factor at this point. All right, community people can come up. I even questioned that wholesale price rise that can easily be manipulated. You mean as in it's lower than the reality? Ken? I mean, yeah, in the end, anything can be interpreted in a way. Might even be higher. It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me. Thank you.
Hey, good morning. Yeah, so Leah, do you guys remember that whole $10 billion lawsuit that he did against the IRS?
Yeah.
That's where they want that money to come from. But not only that, it's going to be, they want it made so that way nobody has any oversight, no one else has control over it. He gets to pick like 5 people to run it and you have no say so. And like literally the weaponization is from quote unquote the Biden stuff, so they can like the J6ers, because it was on Jen Psaki talked about it on her show. That's how I heard about it. T was playing it, so I was hearing that this morning driving down the road, cussing and fussing. But yeah, so they want to try to take 1.78 billion and have it in this weaponization fund that they can dole out however they want to people who say that the Biden administration came against them or what have you. And then they want to control it and all of that. Not only that, they want to make it so that he's alleged, from what Jen was sharing, from what she's seen, they also want to make it so he can't be audited by the IRS. So that's another part that they want to put into
They want to
this.
make sure, they want to try and make it so he can't be audited by the IRS?
Yes. Yes. Yep. And that whole thing, that's like literally a slush fund that they can dole out how they so choose. So think about it. All of those folks from J6 that they got released after they all went, everybody went, not all of them did, not all of them had to go to jail, but like pardoning all of those people, all of that. Not only that, like one of the things she was talking about, oh my gosh, one of his advisors, that Flynn something, that pled guilty twice, then they turned around and pardoned him, and then they quietly paid him like a whole so many millions of dollars on the backside. Like he did it, he pled guilty to doing it, then he got pardoned for doing it, and then he got paid.
Why is gas $8.75 a gallon in California and $3.74 here? Well, there's a lot of reasons. One, there are 49 million people in California, so they do a lot of extra work to make sure that they don't add to the smog problem that California constantly deals with. Nope, not taxes actually. But, thanks for playing.
See, that's the thing. Don't be disingenuous. Don't do that shit. Just don't do that shit. But it's so much corruption, y'all. There's this hearing set up in that case because this might be a... Heck yeah, Die. And that needs to be. Are we talking about the IRS case? Is that the one you're talking about, Die? Just to make sure I'm on the same mind frame as you. Exactly, Ken. And the fact that it's like they're talking about it on a nationally TV show that literally anybody, if they have that channel across the world, can watch. I mean, come on.
Yep. I want to see what $5 says that I know that he's gone, but I want to.
You know, it's funny. My Wi-Fi came on right after I requested a credit for it being like 24 hours with no Wi-Fi. Literally after I was in a chat thing, after the person said, "Can I help you with anything else?" I said no. I closed out the thing and my Wi-Fi.
So the average in California right now is $6.14. So anyone that says 8, chances are they're talking about diesel, not not regular gas. Now there may be a couple places where it's higher. There's a lot of things that can cause it to be that way, but gas is not. My phone had someone trying to talk to me. I forgot phones could do that. You know, that I understand that. I'm talking about in California specifically. But yes, I mean, Hawaii is more expensive because they have to import everything.
Yeah, anytime you live on an island, everything is going to be more expensive. I think, and it's just like I was sitting there on Today this morning. The CEO from Zillow was on there, and he was sitting there saying that the increase in the price and wages, the increase prices of raises are increasing, and it's the gap should be closing more between like the unaffordability of homes because of the fact that the wages. And I'm just sitting here watching him, and I'm just like looking at him, and I'm like, are you serious?
Is this the same guy that made the dumbass statement of the economy is doing great? I just talked to the CEO of somewhere, and they're like, people are using their credit cards like crazy right now. Look how great the economy is doing. Not even like completely ignoring the fact that people are using the credit cards for like necessary goods. They're not using it for things they don't need. They're using it for things they do need.
Exactly. I was just like sitting there thinking like, bro, you're just lying. Like, and then I immediately thought like he's an Orange supporter, isn't he? The dude from Zillow.
Probably.
And I'm just, yeah, the groceries, the gas, just the basics, just the basic things. And it's like the part that they're not telling you is how much of a percentage of that credit card are they using? Are people that used to pay off their credit cards every month, are they starting to build up, you know what I mean, a balance on there? They don't talk about that part.
Yep. Yeah. Prescriptions, groceries, gas. Yep. Yep. I don't know about you guys, but I know a lot of people around here are because of the way gas is going, they're literally filling their tank up daily, even if it's only like a gallon, just to keep the overall cost down, because the idea of spending like 70 to 150 bucks on gas to fill up is like, people just, that's insane.
Yeah, I used to get $20 and $20 a week, and that lasted me the 4 days of work Damon went and me going to church. Now I have to put in 30, and I'm getting down to that like gaslight wanting to come on before I even get there. And I don't go to the store on days that Damon doesn't work or that I don't go to church. I make sure every time I go, if I'm leaving my house, it's with a purpose. I do multiple things
Yeah.
at one time in one trip.
I fill up every other day now, so at least it doesn't feel as painful. I get that. Yep. Yeah. My plan today, because we're going to be going to do the show, is I'm going to go do some grocery shopping. I got to go pick up a prescription before I even head over there, and then we'll probably do something on the way back too.
Yeah, I got the recyclables together. I stopped at the grocery store, picked Damon up from work. Then we went to the landfill and did the recyclables and came home. And it's like in a big loop. And literally going to the recyclable station is it's an extra 3-4 minute drive straight instead of making a turn. So it's not like really out of the way.
Yeah.
I'll wait. I will let the I'll put it in trash bags to hold it instead of making a special trip just for that.
Yep. Yeah, Leah, there are people rationing meds. Yep.
And make sure you guys, like, I know we've talked about this before, but make sure when you guys shop at a store, especially if you shop at a store often, make sure you're using their deals. Like, I watch so many people like walk in. It's almost like a thing now, especially since the prices of groceries and everything like that has been changing. I've started to be like more aware. There's a kiosk whenever you walk into any Food Lion, any Food Lion. You don't have to print the papers. You can scan the QR code with your phone. If you don't have a phone, you can print the paper. And all those coupons are automatically extra coupons on top of the sales are added into your account, and you put your phone number in. That stuff saves up. Like, I've looked at my last receipt, like I think last year I saved like $1,200 using those, and it tracks all year for you so you can see. Make sure you're using those coupons. Make sure you're paying attention to sale prices and stuff like that.
Yep. I mean,
Bye, Mission.
we shop at we do most of our shopping now at Lidl, and they give you like free, like you can get stuff for free or cheaper just from shopping. Even if it's stuff we don't really need, we'll be like, all right, we'll find a way to use it because it's free. Like, they're gonna give you something, just do it. Like, figure out a way to use it. At this point, I mean, because you're seeing even that. So in terms of how you're going to see a lot of stores, like more normal stores, do things that I'm seeing, at least, is what you're seeing is a lot of them doing less sales, or the sales aren't as good as they used to be. Like Harris Teeter, we didn't really shop at Harris Teeter until except when they were doing like their buy two get three free stuff. We would always go for those because buy two get three free, that's almost always a good deal no matter what. You're seeing it less and less. Like, it's gone down to like buy two get two free sometimes, and even that is less. So that's what you're going to see a lot of grocery stores start doing, is reducing their sales. So any chance you can get to get something for free, even if you don't think you're going to use it at this point, get it. Just get it. If you have the ability to get something for free or near free, get it. If you have a Harris Teeter nearby, they've got a section near their produce where they will put stuff that is that they can't put on the shelf because it's like towards the end of its life kind of a thing. And you can get a ton of stuff that you could like freeze, or you could can, or
Yeah, because one of the other things. Oh, thank you for the gift, whoever gifted. I'm sorry, I've been going back and forth since the iPad's working. But I noticed, like, I usually get like these little pizzas. They're like little frozen pizzas. They go in the air fryer, quick little meal. They're $1. I noticed yesterday when I went, they've changed the price up to $1.19 and then had them quote unquote on sale for 99 cents. I'm like, literally 3 or 4 days ago they were 99 cents.
Yep.
Now that's the quote unquote sale price.
The Costco wine bucket, appropriate for these times. Yeah. Hey, Eleanor.
Hey, Eleanor. Thanks for the gifts, y'all.
But yeah, that the reason I bring up that the produce clearance is produce is going to be one of the most difficult. Like, you're going to see the highest price jump in produce, because not only are you going to get an increase of price because of tariffs and diesel costs going up, but increased fertilizer costs. So you're going to see fresh food prices really skyrocket. So if you have a chance to get a good deal on something that you could like pickle or do something like that, do it. Do it. Hey, Jenny. If you have a local farmer, sure. I don't have anywhere near me to do something like that.
I have what they did. So there's a lot of flea markets in my area, and there's actually I still haven't ever went in there. Maybe I need to. I get anxious because there's often a lot of people there, but it's right next to a flea market. It started as like a little patch. Now they've built a building where it's basically like a farmer's market that's open all year long. And every weekend, I know like there's a big building in the middle. It used to be a tobacco like processing barn, so it's huge. And then on the one side, there's we have a lot of Mexican folks in our area. They've got all this amazing Mexican food trucks set up and all of this stuff. But they have this fruit and veggies, and it's open all year long. I just haven't ever checked it out. I might have to go check it out and see what the prices
Benny,
are.
because prices will not come down to what they even were before this war. Because you don't seem to understand how the economy works or farms work. Even if the Strait of Hormuz opened today, they would not be able to output the same amount that they used to, which would automatically keep prices higher. Farms are planting now. So all the fertilizer that they use to plant already has cost them at minimum 20%, if not more, to grow their stuff. I've seen it for decades, young man. Go ahead. No, you haven't. You have not seen anything like what we're dealing with right now. You have not seen anything like what we're dealing with right now. If they straight opened, why wouldn't they be able to get it back to full capacity? Because the countries that ship from there have had a bunch of their equipment damaged. The AEW, whatever their name is, the UAE, I think, said that it would take that by the end of 2026, they will only be able to get up to 80%.
Yeah, I bet you they think you're 26, 27. I can't stand that. Just don't be so damn dismissive. That you
Also
just
add in the
completely-
massive drought across the country. It's not just the West. It's across the country. We're dealing with it in North Carolina.
Very much so. Like we need where I'm on my side of North Carolina where I am. I'm about 3 hours away from Mike. We need like 10 inches of rain in a month's time to catch up. It is the driest spring we've had on record in my area of North Carolina since 1883. 18, not 19. 1883, y'all. Almost 200 years.
Also, what is it? New Jersey. So there's the other things that you need to take into account. So like Jersey, I saw a report coming from a bunch of farmers in the Jersey area. Their farms, they were peach farmers, and they had some warm weather, which caused the flowers to bloom, and then they had a freeze after. And they said that most of the farms in their area are looking at a 50 to 70% reduction in product, in amount of flowers that they have on their trees because of that. And if you think that they're only dealing with that there, we're also dealing with a El Nino that's looking to be one of the worst we've ever had, which is probably going to increase the number of hurricanes and just severe weather across the country. So, like, to think that it's just going to go back to normal is completely ignorant. And also, guys, if you're not following me here and on the tube and on Substack, I'm working on a new thing that I'm putting together, talking about. I've talked about societal shift before, and I was doing a lot of thinking, and I've been doing a lot of interacting with a bunch of different, with history, looking at history, historical precedent on things, and we are dealing with a different kind of shift going on right now in comparison to what we've dealt with in the past, that I think we need to pay attention to, because going, I think Substack confuses you. I hear you. It's understandable. My plan is to post it on Substack, but then do something on the tube that goes along with it, because I think we are dealing with a different kind of convergence of everything that's going on, in terms of how society is shifting in a way that, while there are similarities to multiple different points in history, it's never been the way it is right now. And I think we need to remember that when we interact with it, because you'll see a lot of people that say, "Oh, it's going to be like this," and we just have, well, it's not, because what we're dealing with right now is different. It just is. It's not a bad thing. It's just a reality.
I think you should go ahead and say that I'm right again, because not trying to toot my own horn, but I said that.
I've
I
been
said
saying
that.
that.
I said that a long time ago. Just tell me I'm right, please. It would be a great way to start the weekend. But it's but I've been saying that, and the thing is too, what also makes it insanely different, we have supercomputers in our hands. We have not just one, not just two, but multiple
Sure,
24-hour news stations.
sure.
We have folks who've been working quietly in the background for decades to set the shit up. And it all feels like it's coming to a head.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different nuance to it, but yeah, I mean, there's nothing. There's always things we can take from it, because we are experiencing. We're like, just to give you a general gist, we are experiencing, if you take the societal shifts, different societal shifts that happened in history, what we're dealing with right now is all of them at once. And that's one of the big differences. We're not actually dealing with one kind of the societal shifts. We're dealing with all of them at the same time.
Yes. And diet. I want to say you're absolutely right. And I think too, oh man, the thought I had I had this brilliant response just popping in my head, and just that quick it went. Damn it. But you're right. And I think part of the issue is what we're seeing now, like when it comes to the representatives, because this, like, with the all the racism that's like just blatantly being thrown around by these state legislatures here lately, like, why do we expect like folks who may not be as educated, maybe even more so, but when they're not in the middle of all of that, it seems like it's really easy for them, because when you sit there and you say, the immigrants are doing this to you and they're doing this to you, and we're going to get rid of that. We're going to make it better for you, and we're going to do all of these things. For some reason, it seems like they don't think about, you know, what happened or didn't happen last time, the promises that were made last time and didn't happen. And I
Carla,
think
oh,
oh,
no, finish.
and the other part of it, I remember it now, is I think part of that has to do with what we've been kind of talking about. And I had said before, in that the Dems especially have failed at big time until, AOC and Bernie did it. Like, we were failing. And then even Kamala tried to do it in the short time she had, but they have failed miserably at getting out there in those farmer red areas or those rural areas and actively engaging with them and trying to understand what, you can't sit here and talk about how important the farmers are, but you never go talk to them. You can't do that. And I think for a long time, that's what happened. So one of the criticisms, and when they talk about the DNC and the Dems, and that, and they talk about, and not quite so much, because I mean, we've got a bunch of billionaires and millionaires running this country, but the fact that it seemed like the Dems kind of lost sight of the everyday people that lived outside of the cities, I think that's where their biggest fuck up has been.
Well,
I really truly think.
I think what you're seeing now is this new crop of people that are running, that are running to actually make this change, are people that live there, and they're actually going around and they're talking to them and they're doing it. They're not establishment. The establishment doesn't even care about them when it comes down to it. They don't think they're going to win. They don't care about it at all. These people are doing the work, though. So I think we have a potential of making some really massive change. Carla, thank you. What is your question? I'm nervous.
It does. And and I think what I think could be helpful is if you as a candidate don't know enough about farming, find somebody that the farmers respect. Somebody like a Will Westmoreland who's out there in his community, that is part of that community. Find somebody that knows more than you do. Find some bodies that know more than you do, and bring them with you when you go engage with these people. Let people see that you're serious. Like, hey, I know I might be the person running, but I can't do it by myself. I need a team. I'm willing to build a team of people that can understand and know what you're going through better than I can.
Carla, unfortunately, there is no person on the planet that is always right.
Dare you? Teamwork does make the dream work. I've been telling my kids that since they were little. Since my kids were like old enough, once they started toddling around, trying to get them to clean up. And then we also do the cleanup. We also, yeah. See, see. How does everybody else know, but not him? Look at his face. That's just ratchet. And they want Kia. That's that I've been seeing a few times. Somebody wants some, like, Kia's always right, like a sweatshirt or something for the fall. That would be banging. I would let you use my name.
Mm.
But I think does that sound like a crazy idea for you to take people with you that know more about it than you do, instead of you trying to take all the credit and everything? You're not going to be able to do it all. Kamala always talked about building a team, and
Oh,
I
for
think that's
sure.
how you effectively do it. Get people who are out there. It's just like you wouldn't take a nurse out there with you trying to talk to people in the oil fields when you have Mr. Global. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I mean. When you want to go out there and you want to talk to people about oil and energy, Mr. Global is the person you want with you. You want to talk about farming and stuff like that, Will Westmoreland is one of the people that are out there.
Mm-hmm.
I saw this video, and of course it did one of those things, like the cats like stepped on my phone, and when I went to go scroll back, it was like a whole new set of videos. But it was this farmer chick, and she was sitting there milking the shit out of this cow, hand milking. And as it's just squirting in this bucket, all these words are going across the screen, and I'm just like, oh my god, yes. She's like, they didn't listen to us, they should have listened to us. And I'm like,
Mr. Global is great. I really appreciate his content, and I hope more people look. This is the part that I'm trying to get through to more people, and this is where I always need your help when it comes to getting other people to be a part of these conversations. We Everything is very nuanced. Everything is there's always more to every conversation than we know, which is why when I make a video, I try very hard not to be so final in any of my statements, you know? Because he does care. No, he doesn't care. He said no more wars, and there is no war. And actually, 16 years ago, we stopped them from uh from refining anything.
That's one of those names. If I come across that name, they're always and forever going to be blocked.
That's fine.
Hoodie, hoodlum, whatever variation of his name he wants to use. There's one named Serial. Whenever I see them, yeah, they got to go.
Anyways, this is all nuanced conversation. There's always more to it, which is why I make the videos about it, and I keep saying how important it is that we are able to talk about some of these things for more, because you know, people are making their opinions based on like a minute and a half, 2-minute videos. Even a 10-minute video is not really long enough to have a nuanced conversation. It's not. We've had conversations about things for the entire live and still didn't finish where we were coming from, you know? Like, that's how nuanced some of these situations are. Like, part of being empathetic is trying to understand the perspectives of lots of different people. There are 300 million people in this country. There are billions of people in this world. It takes time to talk and go through these conversations. It takes time to learn. I mean, one of the things I appreciate about people like Mr. Global is when you sit there and you talk and he talks, he just tells you a little bit, and he tells you about that little bit, and he goes into it about that little bit. And if that's all you watch, you obviously won't know everything. You have to watch more. But it still takes time. I remember begging voters to not vote for Orange because SCOTUS was vulnerable. Yeah. I mean, the video I made today, I think I mentioned it. I don't remember if I mentioned it when you were here, Di. There's been a huge just flood of people that have been coming in and saying that they're trying to get a 2/3 majority in the House. That's why they're doing all this redistricting. And I finally saw the video where I think it came from based on how many views it has. And is basically because someone on video said that the reason they're doing the redistricting is to get a 2/3 majority in, they said Congress, so they can change the Constitution, which isn't how changing the Constitution works. And yet they made a video that was straight up saying this is why they're doing it. And it was completely wrong. No party is likely to ever get a 2/3 majority. That's beside the point. Yes, with the amount of people in this country, if you look at the general split in this country, the chances of anyone getting a 2/3 majority is probably near zero the way things are currently. But that's beside the point. The fact is even if they could get a 2/3 majority in the House, it doesn't matter, because they cannot get a 2/3 majority in the Senate because of the way the Senate works, because it's a statewide, and 3/4 of the states to ratify. Like, you're not going to get 10 more state legislatures to go that red that are blue right now. It's just not possible in the current way. It's the way it is.
I have a question, and this may be silly, but I'm really blanking right this second. Was the three-fourths the ratified part of the original Constitution
Mm-hmm.
when it was only 13 states or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, three-quarters of 13 states versus 50 is a big damn difference.
Sure. But yes, it was. Yep. That is, I mean, the fact is when they created the Bill of Rights, there were 12 to begin with. And 2 of them didn't get ratified. A couple more almost didn't get ratified. Like the people that helped write the first 10 amendments had to like go back to their states and like spend a lot of time convincing their legislatures to pass some of these. It wasn't easy.
Yeah, I just
But yeah, even back then, two of the amendments that ended up passing later, which I find hilarious, but 2 of the amendments that were in the original Bill of Rights did not pass, did not get ratified. The
you know,
original First and Second Amendments.
I remember when we were going over our Constitution, we are doing it, and that's why I was like sitting here because my brain is literally like, you know this, and it's like wall, wall. But I remember going through when I first started following Di. She had a different. Well, she shared a different opinion with SCOTUS, and I remember as the different cases kept coming in, and they just kept doing different things, watching her change. The same thing with Scott, like watching and hearing their perspectives on it change. Even hearing like your perspective, like hearing people's perspective, like your perspective changing, because you were hardcore that voting was how we set term limits, and then like you say, it's like an evolution of thought. And I think as amazing as everybody tried to make I know this is probably going to shock some people. I just don't think they were all that great. I mean, they just on so many levels they weren't.
Who, the
But
founding fathers?
yes,
Oh no,
they were just shit.
sure. They were rich. They were rich white men.
Yeah,
They
yeah. It just it's just so frustrating that, and then we have these. Then you've got Thomas and Alito, who just seem like they get to make it. They want to try to make it mean whatever they think it should mean, and it's just so scary.
do
And
yeah.
when those things like elections have consequences, I don't think people understand often, or they don't care often, that a lot of these consequences can be far outreaching, even of their own lives.
Do I appreciate what? Do I appreciate what they put together, but see a lot of flaws in what they put together? Yes. I appreciate the idea of freedom of speech. I appreciate the idea of freedom of religion. I appreciate the idea of a lot of the things. I think what we got was the reality of lots of people having different views on how things should go. That is always the problem, and that is why I personally believe there needs to be some pretty big separation on what is the responsibility of the federal government, the state government, and local government. I think each one has a purpose, and one of the things that I am very against is what the federal government is sticking their nose in right now. Or the fact that some of the things they're doing, which I think should be in their wheelhouse, they aren't actually looking at it from the perspective they should. But that comes to lack of agreeing on fundamentals, which is a whole different problem that we have. People need Schoolhouse Rock. I know people that did have Schoolhouse Rock, and they still don't know how our government works.
I haven't seen Schoolhouse Rock.
It's just, of course not. because it was basically a kids musical that taught people how to talk people about politics and things like that.
So if you are wanting to find Schoolhouse Rock, Legal Dad has been putting it on in the last few minutes of his life.
Oh, there you go.
I think we're on Adverbs, maybe. There's a whole website with every single one of them available. Because we're crazy right now. We need the Schoolhouse Rock.
I think and maybe that's because like my pops, like when I met my biological father for the first time when I was 29, and he bought me. I think it's back there in Damon's room, but I want to say he bought me like a disc set of some Schoolhouse Rock because he just couldn't believe that I had never seen it before. But again, I'm not one that somebody singing stuff like in that kind of way, that it makes my brain go spicy. Like we were talking about earlier, I don't like musicals. I like Wicked or Hamilton or any of that stuff. Like it, my brain, it's almost painful because it's like start thinking of everything else and I don't pay attention. That is just not a way to hold my interest. So
Wait, hon. Did you just say, I'm sorry, I wasn't here for that earlier, but did you just say you don't like musicals?
Yes.
I mean, is that what you said?
Yes.
I mean, it's okay because we're Americans. We can have different ideologies and stuff, but musicals?
Or the Beatles.
Oh my gosh, don't say that in public. Oh my goodness. Well, all right. Different strokes for different folks, right?
Yeah, but I get it. I think too, though, that I mean, if we could come out with, when did Schoolhouse Rocks come out?
Long time
Late
ago.
late 70s into the 80s. It's actually had quite a few. They made it through, I think, maybe early 90s.
I'm not always right. Yeah, and that's the thing. I think, if that's a way
Flip
to
it.
get,
You heard her say it.
if you take, I'm reading a comment. Take it out of context.
I don't know what you're talking about. That's not what the clip's gonna say.
Of course not. Yeah, yes, I haven't seen Rocky Horror. I've seen like previews and I just was like, I don't want to.
I haven't seen it either.
Oh,
I know. I'm just like, I mean, I've seen clips, but
see, like Greatest Showman. I've seen Greatest Showman 100 times easy. But what I get into is just the music. Like I will just play the music. But that's because I just love music, so.
and see that kind of music, like the musical music, is the part this just drives me absolutely insane. Like I realized ever since when Vonda gave me that term spicy for so long, especially in my adulter, the more adulter I got into my life, the more it just started making me realize that my like okay, something's going on. And then Vonda's like, "Are you neuro spicy?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh," it was like, the light bulb came on,
Eleanor,
and it fit.
My heart is breaking. I can't take this on top of the political turmoil.
I'm sorry. I know it's your name.
You're gonna give people heart attacks.
Let's talk about how you've never seen the stars.
Oh, that's right. We talked about that too. All right, my favorite musical in the moment that you might like, Kaya, is Moulin Rouge. What if it was like updated music? I think that's really a good one. But it's okay. You do lots of other stuff that does. No, I don't get it. Nope. I'm trying. I'm trying it.
I will say, like the Moulin Rouge song, like the one that had, the one that came out with Lil Kim and Pink and Christina Aguilera. Now, and was it Missy or whatever? Now that song was absolutely the bomb. But to watch a whole movie with a bunch of singing, that shit drives me crazy. Mary Poppins, don't like Mary Poppins. Never seen The Sound of Music. Like all of that stuff.
I'm sorry. I got to get my smelling salts. What? All right.
Gas prices are not coming right back down steadily or quickly. And they will not go back down to what they were pre-war. Not for a while, at least.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe ever, but definitely not for a while.
You think we'll see a boom in the electric cars again? That's kind of what happened in 2008.
I mean, you're seeing it in the rest of the world. You're not seeing it here because of the choices that this administration has made that have caused less countries or less companies to make electric cars here.
Yeah.
The one thing I did see a report on is that Ford is coming out with a officially announced a sub $30,000 electric truck, I think. So it's going to be cheaper than Tesla's.
You need a bigger battery though, with a bigger truck.
According to them, it has a 300-mile range, and it's comparable to a lot like
Ooh.
he was. So you got to remember, these are companies, so guarantee what they did, because he said he owns one of the Chinese cars, the B somethings. I guarantee they have taken those things apart and found ways to do things. But I think you'll see a lot more electric cars. I think in the end, we are all. Here's the problem that I see. I want an electric car, and I think we should all have electric cars personally. Until we can get our electric grid is nowhere near large enough. We are now dealing with data centers that are taking from the electric grid, and we don't have enough chargers. So unless you're planning on staying around the city, or you don't travel very far past your house, it's just not viable to have a full electric. I mean, I love a hybrid. I think we'll probably see more hybrids to start. I think I mean, I personally think what we need to do if we want to help our grid is have the government pay, instead of paying for some of these, instead of paying to get more armaments to drop on other people, pay, $500 billion to put solar panels on houses. That would help the grid like that.
Well, does he think though that solar panels are ugly? 'Cause it
I mean,
seems
he
like
probably does.
if he doesn't like what it looks like, then it's gone apparently.
I mean, I read a report saying that Cuba is now the country with the fastest adoption of solar electricity of any country ever, because of what's going
Really?
on there. And China has basically has been bringing over solar panels and batteries.
Wow.
Good. Good
That
for
is,
them.
I don't know. The only thing that worries me really, honestly, quite frankly, is the role that China's playing in Africa right now. That's what worries me. Other than that, it's like, all right, you really think you're gonna stop trade with them? You kidding me? What the frick, man?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I mean, yeah. Go Q.
I would say it's not just China and Africa. It's like that there's people here, the ones that are running big time with the regime right now, that also want to get in there and pillage and plunder Africa like they've been
Yes.
doing for centuries.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And and my thing is this is we do this thing like I've been having a really tough time these last quite a few years with our country on so many different levels. And my
Mm-hmm.
thing is this, like I tell Scott all the time, like I don't think we have the greatest military in the world. We're still trying to fight like we're fighting in 1945 and not like it's 2026. We think it's got to be big and bad and loud and yada yada yada. I mean, look what happened. freaking Canvas was just hijacked the other day by hackers. All this information is, there's so many other ways to quote unquote have conflicts, and we just keep running behind it. Now, not only that, we have to be a colonizer mindset. Like, we were colonized, now we want to go out. They colonized coming over here, and I guess sitting here for 250 years, they just want to go out and they want to do it more. And it's like, if China is going to help these African countries in a way that's going to allow them to start doing better for themselves, then I'm all for it. If we're just going to go over there and have these people and these kids unaliving in minds so we could sit here on these computers that we use, and just for the benefit of us, like, it bothers me. And I just,
Not hacked. We have more foreign policy expertise than the current administration does.
Absolutely. Now, my understanding, real quick, and we certainly don't need to stay on the Africa topic, but it's really kind of heartbreaking. They're giving the money that's being loaned in a lot of places, not everywhere, but in several of the different countries in Africa. They're using it for like airports and train tracks and roads and trying to get that infrastructure put up. My understanding, though, is that the money that they're giving, they're like, if you don't give it back exactly the right time, the right place, then they basically start taking ownership of that. So you've got China that owns the railroads,
Mhm.
for like 4 or 5 different countries in Africa. So that's really where, it starts to get a bit sketchy, in my opinion.
Sure. There's there's a lot of sketch going on. Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
like
and that takes me back to Taiwan too. I mean, he was, I can't remember, but Taiwan's not looking good right now, I think, to have people fighting over it. It's been a long time, but we have no more position of power to kind of protect us, in my opinion, from what's going on with Taiwan.
I think the rest of I think we've got somebody over there in our country, and I think we got somebody over there in the C country, and then you got somebody in the I country, and they're all pulling their strings in their own ways. And you're absolutely right, Di. And like, we just think, hey, we're just gonna go drop shit on you out of the sky, and we're gonna make you do what we want right now, and not give you the optional opportunity. And I'm just sitting here thinking, like, just go ahead, because again, you don't have the forethought to think about what comes later, and the
Right.
fact that you're setting yourself up to create all these people who are just gonna, down the line, could be, you're making enemies out of people who are just coming into existence, and you're creating enemies in places that we didn't need to have them. And if everybody would stop trying to have this big old contest about mine is bigger than yours, then
Mm-hmm.
we could do so much better. Because China, if we would stop thinking, oh, we're the United States and we're so amazing and we're the best at everything and every, why do our medications cost for the same exact things that other people take across the world cost so much more? The capitalism, people are greedy as shit. If we weren't so greedy and egotistically driven, we would go over to China and try to say, or have China, hey, what's the technology that you're using that you can get these electrical cars for $40,000 versus how much they cost here. What did you have to do to implement the changes and the stuff that you needed for your infrastructure and everything? Like, like 96% of people in China own their homes. In the United States is like 68% or something. We're not doing so many things right, but we think we're America. We're the best. We're the best country in the world.
Mm-hmm. It would all depend on how he got oil to $20 a barrel. So yeah, we might still fuss if he got it to $20 a barrel by means that involve hurting other people.
The one thing about China, because I've been all about the China for the last couple years, the one thing I have noticed is that for them, not for them, but from what I've seen, that people are actually included in, like, uh, you know, valuable things. Like, I've got 15 jars of pickles that'll last forever, and then it's like, and I've got these 3 people to do whatever it is I tell them to do. There's just this idea that there's plenty of people And so they're going to use the people workforce and such. That's really upsetting, I suppose, from a humanitarian perspective.
Hmm.
But that's kind of one of their main things. We got all the people, let the people do it then.
Yeah.
And I think too, it's just kind of like here. I think that depends on where in China that you are, because like even um like I follow a young lady. She's this black lady. She's originally from South Carolina, but she actually taught in China and was teaching in China when everything started to shut down. And then she came home, and they used to fly for her teaching in China. They flew her, like, in teachers, that was part of your stuff, that was like part of your bonus, is like they would fly you to whatever country you were from so you could go see your family. They paid for that. They paid for your travel, once a year or whatever, so you could go. um but like she talked a lot about her experience like living in China and how it was. And it makes me curious, what is the difference between living there as, a native born Chinese person versus, an immigrant, because she spoke very highly of where she lived in China.
I mean, there, yeah. This is why nuance is such a huge thing again. Um, I think China has done a lot of stuff, obviously, that has made it great for a lot of people. I don't think I don't think China is North Korea in any way, shape, or form. Um, that being said, I think what the danger that you see a lot from, because of the way they run things, it, especially for us, probably it feels a lot worse in the sense of they have the capability of making decisions for all of their people.
Yep.
And I think that's what hits a lot of us here, even though, they're trying to do that now here a lot too. At least the general mindset of a lot of people in this country are, that's bad. For obvious reasons, because they have, as a government, they have done a lot of bad things to their people because of that ability, because of that mindset. That does not mean that everything about it is bad. That does not mean
Right.
everyone is just suffering every single day of the week. It does mean that you can easily get put into situations um, that depending on the outcome ends up not being good for you. Like these kids that basically, from the moment they just say they want to do something, the government will pay for you to become an Olympian.
Mm-hmm.
You better hope you do well, because there have been lots of stories of people that ended up failing after having been paid for everything, all of their
Yep.
training. They don't get to live with their family. They live in this whole other place that they're day and night. That's all they do is train, so they can win an Olympian in the Olympics. And it's not good if you don't, because they put a lot of money in you.
And your families too.
Yeah.
The one thing I really took away, speaking of that, the one thing I really took away from C-19 when we were kind of watching and seeing what the rest of the world was doing, right, as we opened up, and we know China was just like a clam for like 3 years. It just closed up. And then a lot of people were like, dude, we can't even get our food. We can't leave our apartment enough to get our food. People are getting pulled left, right, and center, blah, blah, blah. So it was this horrible situation. And it was the first time for me in my whole life when I saw Chinese people like out and picketing. They actually came out and said, let us out of our homes. Now, if you were to use that language, I don't know if anybody remembers this, but if you use that language against the government, you get grabbed and put into jail. And so one of the things they were doing to get around it as they were protesting was they were silent and they were holding up blank sheets of paper because everybody knew what it was that was in the minds on the paper.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way they demonstrated in order to not get picked up, by the authorities. And it's that moment where I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so sad. And then on the other hand, I'm like, is China, like, are they really doing this? Because
Yeah.
protesting's like not allowed to even think about it.
It's one of those situations in that country where when things are good, they're good. But when anything that happens that makes them look bad or is considered bad by the government, it doesn't get good for you. So as long as it's one of those, if you're on the good side, dude, life is great. Life is great. Just don't get on the bad side for any reason because you got no rights. And that's the problem. And again, we're not going to sit here and I'm not sitting here trying to say, oh, they're horrible, we're great. It has nothing to do with that. These are just realities. These are just the nuances between the two. For people visiting, yeah, I'm sure it looks great when you're visiting. They've been taught to not talk about these things.
I think also though, like my whole life, I've always heard China bad. China's our enemy. China's bad. China's our enemy. And I'm just like, but why? Why
Mhm.
for?
I think I struggled really hard when we went from the USSR, Russia is the worst country ever. And then the day happened where they're like, nope, we're going to the China. I'm like, well, wait a minute. Are we done then with Russia? Like, all right.
This is where it gets hard. And it's always been hard, especially for Americans, but there's humanity sometimes just struggles with it in general. Personally, I've never considered China bad. I have considered the people that run that country to not be in the best interest of fully in the best interest of not only their own people, but humanity in general. It's the same problem that we got when it comes to people that want to lump the I country government with everyone who is of that background. Because I know lots of people that have that background and are not anything like that the government or the people that support that government. It's like saying that everyone in Russia is the same, which we know they're not. It's hard to separate the two because most of our experiences with everyone of any country outside of our own is really going to be with the government. That's what 90% of our interactions, if not more, are going to be. Now, it's different because we have the internet. So oftentimes, obviously less now because we know who owns the TikTok app especially is we don't see as much for certain areas outside of this for a certain country. But the internet has helped us understand that there are differences in a way that we didn't used to have when all three of us were younger. So it's very hard to separate our whole country with the people that are running the country, because there are people that support the people that run the country, which again, it can make it seem like it's everybody when it's not. So yeah, I don't trust the Chinese government any farther than I could throw them. I think they absolutely will say and do whatever they can for them to succeed and have victory in their minds.
Well, quite frankly, and I'm going to only say this once so people don't come for me. It's been a bad couple weeks. I have to say, it's right. Of course, it's not just China. Of course, it's Russia. Of course, it's a lot of other places. But for me, it's Sweden. I think Sweden's got a master plan. Now it sounds like I'm kidding, but I'm actually not. There's some weird stuff going on in Sweden, and I do not trust the government there. And it's not because of the king. I just wanted to put that out there, okay?
I mean, I haven't paid attention, but it wouldn't surprise me in any. I mean, every country is dealing with stuff right now to some extent.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. I think for a long time, like we've always been able, we've kind of had the rose-colored glasses on. It's really easy to be able to say, "Look what they're doing. Look what they're over there doing. Look what
Mhm.
that country's doing. Look at that. Look at that." And I think by doing that, it also kind of takes away from all the things that we're doing here badly too, or that we're not doing to make us better. Like we can say it because we know there's good and bad everywhere in every country in every place. There always will be. And it's like, I think that's the thing. If you can get over the fact, if you stop saying China's bad, China's bad, China's bad, figure out, work with them, figure out how they're doing what they're doing, get it at a lower, get it. If you want it to be American made, you got to figure out a way for the damn pricing not to damn be so much. And then let's start doing this, and I think that's part of the problem. Like this whole thing with money and like capitalism is just blossom into this beast, and it's just like,
Mhm.
whew.
Well, that turned dark quick.
We need in this country to take a long look at our problems and say, okay, these are the problems that we're dealing with that we need to fix. Are there other places that are interacting with those that have fixed it or are at least heading in the right direction? What do they do that's good? What do they do that's not so good? What's happened? Like again, that's the other issue I think we're dealing with as a whole in this country is, or even sometimes in around the world, but especially we're interacting with it, is this idea of it either has to be perfect, i.e., it needs to fix everything that we're dealing with, or we can't even consider it. Like they won't
Right.
even consider it unless and to an extent I understand because of the way our government has worked lately. Because of the way our government has worked lately.
Oh, I see a baby. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Because of the way our government has worked lately, not only is it hard to pass things, but also once we pass them, sometimes it's hard to get them unpassed. So I can, to an extent, I can understand this general issue of we don't want to pass something that we know won't work because we may never get. I mean, look at the ACA. Let's look at the ACA. Do I think the ACA is perfect? No. Do I think the ACA needs more changes to do better? Absolutely. What happened since the ACA was passed? Nothing really.
That's true.
The only thing that has happened is they've taken is Republicans have made changes to things that they didn't like, that didn't actually make it any better, in fact made it worse. You're right. ACA was meant to be a stepping stone. It was made to be a starting point. And if you don't keep going, yeah, it's going to get worse because again, times have changed. Times have changed between when the ACA was passed and now. Things are different. So why are we still doing things the same way? And the fact that people want to go back to like the way it was in the 60s or the 30s or the 20s or all these other times. And it's like, dude, you didn't even live past 40. You were lucky if you lived past 40 in, back before the 1900s, back when this country was created. So we need to be able to have these conversations. That's why new younger people are needed in office. Yes.
Absolutely.
I mean, it comes back to we need new younger people in office. That's not true. The stats are skewed because of No, it's not true. The
It's not.
infant mortality is still part of living long. People regularly live to old age.
No.
That's not true.
Evidence of early humans living into their 90s, not many.
Oh, is it
Yeah,
a
no.
bot? I met this like girl bot last night on Nathan's Live. Like they're seeing some stuff, man.
Most people died around 40. No, most people did not live to old age. Nope.
That's not true.
That's not true. So if let's stick with it for 2 seconds. If your statement was true and most people live to old age, then why, when vaccines were created, did the average age go from 40 to like 60s? Just with the vaccine creation. How did vaccines help with infant mortality? How do you see vaccines helping infant mortality? The vaccines that were created didn't help with infant mortality. They helped with adult mortality.
Did you see the number of people, right, that are not giving that vitamin K shot to their babies after they have them? Like, there's a couple of things you can do, but this is literally just vitamin K, and it's to make sure that everything functions properly and to help the baby, right? Should do it within, I think, like 48 hours after they're born. And they're saying, we don't want it. We don't want it. And there's a lot of problems now with these little babies because they didn't have that. That breaks my heart.
Especially when it's 2026.
Right.
And we're going backwards like that. And that's the one thing that these little superpower computers in our hands are dangerous about, is that it also gives voices to those that don't actually know what the fuck they're talking about.
Yep.
Yeah, no, we don't do that.
Dude,
Mm-mm.
I was working when you were born. Don't call me Lil Man.
Dope. Good job, moderators.
No, I don't play no games.
Nope. Well, we can't anymore because, we'll get arrested.
I still remember the day, I think it was last week, or it may have been earlier this week, when someone told me to Google AI a question. Basically said AI told me.
Oh my gosh. I can't do it. I'm wondering if that's why, one of the reasons why I handwrite everything, right? But I have such a hard time with people doing that. Just yesterday, now my hubs is a crazy man. Well, he's a big nerd, right? Lab coat, pocket protector. And so he's always like nervous about stuff. He's like, we're getting another Alexa. I'm like, no, we are not getting another Alexa. And then yesterday he's like, well, I asked the computer this question. And I said, excuse me, you did what? He asked the computer a question and they answered him. And I'm like, I'm still just not even. I'm sorry, I brought it up, but it's
I
still
have 4
like,
of them in my house, so.
What are you doing? Have you seen the lawsuits?
What are they gonna, I live online. What are they gonna hear that I don't literally put for everyone to see?
You might be surprised.
I might be.
Also that little ring thing in front of people's houses, that they put up there to like film people or whatever. Same thing. That company can go into and look at all of that, and they actually got sued for that, for multi-million-dollars settlement that they took together because they're like, oh, we'll just watch this. Of course, don't get me wrong, I'm pretty boring too. It'd be like Alexa would be like, well, she's in this room, that room, the other room. But it's still like, if they start speaking the French, I'm like, what's going on?
I have no issue using AI to start a question. I have
Mhm.
no issue with that. But if you don't ask the question and then look where they got it, because most of them, especially Google AI, it will tell you where they got the information at the bottom. If you don't go in and verify what they said, because at minimum 25%, in some cases 50% of the time, they interpret it wrong because they don't have the ability to nuance the same way. They just don't. Like, sometimes you ask the question poorly, and again, because it doesn't have the ability to think past what you're asking, it can look at it. There's so many things that can go wrong. Why you never use it as the authority. Again, starting point, sure, it can
Mhm.
do some massive amount of searches quickly for you.
I think it's good for inspiration too, like that.
Sure.
So it's a good starter, but then you need to go and make sure everything's appropriate.
Yep. Yeah. Especially when you're talking about percentages and that data stuff, because it does not read websites that use that kind of data very well. Like, especially if the stuff you're looking at is like spreadsheets. For some reason, I mean, I'm sure there's a good reason. For some reason though, it cannot process the columns and things correctly.
I did not know that.
I mean, sometimes it works, especially if they have like in paragraphs the data as well. But I've seen so many really horrible numbers that they've given because it didn't look at the spreadsheets on the website correctly. It misinterpreted the numbers. I've seen a video where someone had ChatGPT and Google AI arguing with each other. I'm back at the ER because my lungs are not better after a week on steroids. Sorry, Jennifer.
Well, and with that, I gotta go.
Okay. Thanks for
Got
coming
10
up, though.
minutes. Gotta go do some prep. Oh my gosh, thanks for having me. Good to see
You are
everybody.
always welcome. You know that.
Yeah,
Thank
I'm
you,
getting ready to
thank
go
you.
live in a few minutes too.
Yay! I come just for your hair, Kale, okay? I'm there just for your hair. See y'all later.
Bye.
Bye.
So again, for everyone, since we're getting towards the end, make sure you collect all your points if you're over on TikTok. If you're on the tube, make sure you hit that thumbs up. Please watch the videos of the people that I'm interviewing. Today's is someone who's running for state house. It's a young man who is a musician, and he was screwed over by the military, and he wants to run to change things. Why all of a sudden care about prices? Always cared about prices, Casey. Literally always. Anyone who doesn't care about prices is lying to themselves. But please go over and watch that stuff. Share it with people. The best way to get these people the kind of visibility and name recognition they need is for people to watch and share. And honestly, I say this multiple times. My goal is not to convince you to vote for these people I'm interviewing. My goal is to make sure that everyone in their districts has a full understanding of who's running and what they stand for. That's what's necessary. That's something we are bad at. Now, most, if not all, of the people that I've interviewed, I would probably vote for. But that's not my goal. That's not my goal. My goal is not to convince you to vote for the people that I interview. So please help get those names out there. And like I said, starting Monday, you're going to start seeing goals happen that are over on the tube that if we get them, well, we'll do a giveaway because we're trying to grow over there. So any help would be greatly appreciated. And I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. There's only been one I'd absolutely not vote for, and that's fair. And I understand that. And
But I still have lots to watch, but most of them, and there's been some I'm like, yeah, there was just one like
it also depends on
absolutely
who the other choice is at the time, right?
True. And then too, because of the fact, I think, because I watch them and I'm not actively engaging in the conversation and spending the time editing and all this stuff. So you've built a relationship with them.
Right.
Whereas I'm like, watching videos, and sometimes like, even if they're not back to back and running in the same district, I'm not going to think about, hey, they're running in the same district as the other. I'm not even going to put those together, to be honest with you.
That's true. But, yeah. And anyways, guys, thank you so much for being here. Have an amazing, amazing weekend. Hopefully nothing crazy will happen that will require me to go live this weekend. It's weird that I have to think about that, but I will see you guys on Monday. Thank you for the likes, the shares, and the gifts. You guys rock. You guys are amazing just the way you are, and I love you all very much. Stay safe, stay healthy. Remember to sing, laugh, dance, smile. Do something that makes you happy. Bye, guys.